so sorry.
I'm sorry.
I am so scared. It's all my fault.
There are few movies more influential than The Blair Witch Project.
Oh my God, what is that?
The low-budget film marked a watershed moment for both horror as a genre
Josh, is that you down there?
and independent filmmaking as a whole.
The Blair Witch Project has taken in more than $113 million.
In this video, we'll investigate what studio executives and film scholars have puzzled over since the movie's release. What made The Blair Witch such a sensation?
It's the movie everyone seems to be talking about these days. It's The Blair Witch Project.
The Blair Witch Project. The Blair Witch Project. Blair Witch Project.
This is how they shot it. The Blair Witch Project. Before we begin, remember to subscribe to Studio Binder and enable notifications to stay up to date on all our filmmaking videos. There will be spoilers ahead.
At one point in your life, you had an encounter with the Blair Witch.
Yes, that is, a really kind of scary story.
In this video, we'll use Studio Binder's shot list to look at some of the technical choices the filmmakers made from shot to shot. Let's begin.
Should we all, like, cut our fingers open and bleed on it? A little bloodletting on the slate?
No, we'll save that for later.
The Blair Witch Project was written, directed, and edited by Dan Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez. The film was released in 1999 and popularized the found footage genre. Many credit 1980's Cannibal Holocaust as the first found footage movie, but it was Blair Witch that introduced much of the world to the concept.
Because we're making a documentary.
Not about us getting lost. We're making a documentary about a witch.
The idea came to Myrick and Sanchez when they realized that documentaries about the paranormal scared them much more than horror movies, and the two felt the horror genre in the 90s needed a new approach.
There really wasn't anything that was scaring us. I mean, it's like, okay, there were horror movies, quote unquote, and they were kind of fun to kind of go check out and stuff like that.
It was scaring us that they were being made.
So Sanchez and Myrick wrote a 35-page screenplay without any dialogue, since they knew they wanted the project to be improvised. They also knew that they would have to be working with a small budget.
We just took what we had to work with, which is a very minimal budget, minimal resources, and used those as our strengths.
The film cost as little as $35,000 to shoot, and though post-production costs may have brought the film's price tag up to as much as $500,000, the film's final box office total of $250 million was impressive. It became one of the highest-grossing independent films of all time.
Oh, you're full of it.
Perhaps the most important key to the Blair sensation was its blending of fact and fiction.
Local officials, combined with over 100 search volunteers, have failed to come up with any signs of the three missing filmmakers.
Sanchez explains, the prime directive we had was that the film had to look completely real. This meant the duo had to employ innovative directing techniques.
No more than 20 families laid their roots here over 200 years ago. Many of whom remain, either on this hill or in the town below.
Making sure the Blair Witch Project felt real meant Myrick and Sanchez had to use a style of directing not seen before in the mainstream of Hollywood. This approach began with casting. The directors knew that to keep the audience immersed, they needed to make the footage seem to be of real people, which meant finding unknown actors.
This is really up.
I know.
Yeah.
Blair star Heather Donahue explains the process.
One day, long, long ago, an ad caught my eye that said improvised feature film. At that point, it was called the Black Hills Project. The main thing was that it was an improvised feature film. That stopped me dead in my tracks. Wow, that's a dream. That's creative freedom.
The auditioning process emphasized the importance of authenticity and improvisation. Myrick explains, the actors would either fall into character and get it, or they wouldn't, so that enabled us to kind of screen hundreds of actors.
I'm not ready for that thing that you don't like, you know.
I know you don't like it.
Once Myrick and Sanchez landed on their principal cast, their unconventional directing approach carried over into filming. The duo didn't interact with the three actors during the shoot in Seneca Creek State Park. Instead, they left notes in 35mm film cans that the actors would find via GPS. These notes included clues as to their next location, as well as individual instructions for each actor with guidance for how they should improvise that day. The notes from Sanchez and Myrick were often based on the footage Heather had shot each day, which she would leave in select locations for the directors to pick up.
I know that.
Actor Joshua Leonard describes the process.
They would watch the dailies at night and give us instructions, character motivations on what they saw and where they wanted to take it for the next day. And we wouldn't know what each other's character motivation was. So a lot of the time, you know, we would be conflicting in what our goal for the scene would be.
We're in the middle of the goddamn woods. We could walk anyway. We're going this way because that's the way we've been going for a day. We're going this way and that's it.
To further heighten the authenticity of the performances, the directors decided to leave the actors with less and less food as the 8-day shoot went on, while also disrupting their sleep throughout the night by making loud noises in the woods outside their tent.
Oh, Jesus.
Sanchez elaborates.
The whole movie was basically, safely torturing these actors. And the fact that, they all were like cool and none of them like walked out and none of them were pissed off, they were eager to do it. And, it's a testament to who they are as actors.
Kick some ass today.
Very good day.
Excellent day.
Very good first day.
When it came to the scares in the movie, Sanchez and Myrick wanted to build an entire horror movie without ever showing the monster.
I have no idea.
Myrick explains, "It's what you don't see. It's letting the audience think a little bit, not spelling it out for them. Giving them credit for using their own imaginations rather than sticking in gags and tricks."
Oh my God, what the f is that? What the f is that?
This approach resulted in a film that feels real the entire way through. Rooted in naturalistic performances and psychological terror, this realism also carried through to the docu-style shooting and editing.
Do I look like I'm laughing at all?
No, but you're going around doing your documentary thing, man. You're still doing your f***ing thing.
Don't and turn the goddamn thing off!
The craft in the Blair Witch Project is integral to the project's authentic feel. Like the directing style, the approach to cinematography in the film was groundbreaking for a Hollywood feature. Most of the film was shot by the actors themselves.
What they found was a desecration of humanity at the site which trappers have often referred to as Coffin Rock.
Myrick explains, realism being our prime directive necessitated us putting a camera in the actors' hands, because that is how it would be done. That's how it would be shot. So we threw out convention.
Oh, Jesus.
Blair was shot on 2 different cameras, both of which were referenced repeatedly in the film.
I see why you like this video camera so much.
You do?
It's not quite reality.
The first was an RCA Pro 8mm camcorder, which shoots an analog video.
I have a camera.
And the second was a Cinema Products CP16A film camera, which shoots 16mm.
Yet legend tells a different story. One whose evidence is all around us, etched in stone.
Director of photography Neil Fredericks did camera tests before the shoot, working with Color Lab to process dailies and to decide how many stops to push the film stock. This refers to treating film stock as though it were a higher ISO than it is. In other words, adjusting a camera's aperture or shutter speed so that less light hits the film stock than is typically necessary for its ISO. This creates underexposed footage that is then corrected by developing the film for a longer period of time. This process results in a grainier and more contrasty image. Actor Joshua Leonard was cast partly because he knew how to operate a film camera.
But I thought you've used this camera before, man.
I've used it like once before.
Fredericks had to train the other 2 actors. Sanchez explains.
We trained them before the shooting began, a couple days on loading the camera, and Mike, the sound guy, was trained on the DAT recorder. We just kind of gave him a 3-day film school.
Welcome to day 2.
As the actors wandered through the woods, guided by a GPS, The crew would leave fresh batteries and magazines for the cameras.
We've got so much battery power, we could fuel a small world country for a month.
After the 8-day shoot finished, the crew returned one of the cameras to Circuit City in order to save money. When editing, Myrick and Sanchez had 20 hours of raw footage to sift through. This made the editing process also feel like they were working on a documentary, since there were no alternative takes to choose from and no additional coverage.
I just want to apologize to Mike's mom and Josh's mom.
Then, says Myrick, we had to kind of sculpt this storyline and downplay certain characterizations.
I'm sorry about the map, man.
Okay.
What can I say?
Sorry. Please, just don't say sorry.
Originally, Myrick and Sanchez were going to format the film more like a conventional documentary, interspersing the woods footage with talking head interviews from friends and relatives.
No! And they disappeared off the face of the earth.
No! Really?
Okay, it's all right, Ingrid. I'm just telling a scary story, but it's not true.
Not true.
But the two eventually decided against the idea and instead only included interviews in the beginning of the film, and staying with the central characters for the rest of the runtime.
Got it?
Okay, I got you.
This is my home.
Okay.
The directors realized that this decision had its potential limitations. As Myrick explains, the sacrifice would be a lot of shaky camera and some intolerable moments for those of us that are a little queasy. That was the price we were willing to pay for the realism.
I am so sorry.
Once the film was picked up by Artisan Entertainment after its successful screening at Sundance, there was talk about changing the film's now iconic ending. The duo went as far as to shoot 4 alternate finales. But in the end, they went with the original. The docu-style approach to both the cinematography and the editing process is a big reason why Blair connected with audiences.
We're doing a documentary about the Blair Witch.
Oh,
have you heard of the Blair Witch?
Oh yeah, that's an old story.
But for the film to truly become a sensation, Myrick, Sanchez, and Artisan Entertainment needed pioneering marketing.
The Horror Hits official website is scaring up big business. And today's Hollywood trade paper, Daily Variety, a full-page ad boasts of over 50 million hits to date.
The Blair Witch Project paved the way for viral marketing.
The last night I saw him, he was excited.
From the outset, Sanchez and Myrick had publicity in mind. The two used marketing techniques to further blur the line between fact and fiction, leaving some fans wondering if the events in the movie really happened.
The search of the 3 missing Montgomery College students continues in Frederick County tonight.
Today, Blair is seen as the first mainstream film to fully harness online marketing. The project's website was crucial to its success. The filmmakers used it to expand the Blair Witch lore and to engage with fans, including newsreel-style interviews and fake police reports.
My older brother, when I was little, used to scare me to death with stories of the Blair Witch.
Myrick explains,
really the website was kind of like a medium for the mythology, so we all created the mythology and threw it up there for people to find out about. Ed formatted the site in such a way to where it was kind of an interactive experience.
Other forms of marketing attempted to make the film seem like an authentic documentary. The filmmakers and Artisan used several publicity stunts in this vein, from listing the actors on IMDb as missing, presumed dead, to distributing pamphlets before its premiere at Sundance, which asked people to come forward if they had any information about the cast's whereabouts. The cast was discouraged from taking additional TV and film roles up to the movie's release to keep the illusion going. Before the film's release, Sanchez and Myrick put together an additional fake documentary called The Curse of the Blair Witch. They premiered the film on the Sci-Fi Channel, which presented the documentary as real, thus further heightening anticipation for the release of the feature.
The Blair Witch Project, the most intense theatrical experience of the summer, has spawned the most frightening investigation on television.
I don't feel too comfortable with seeing the last few days of my brother's life on video.
The film premiered initially at only 40 colleges across the United States, another deliberate decision which spurred the word-of-mouth publicity campaign.
Yeah, it's a story my grandmother used to tell us all. Make us go to bed early.
Really?
Say if you stay up after dark or walk around the house too much, a Blair Witch will come and get you.
Come on! I hear him downstairs! Josh.
The film is The Blair Witch Project.
Critics have called it one of the scariest films of all time.
I was terrified. Oh, it scared me to death.
The Blair Witch Project was a massive phenomenon, terrifying and captivating millions. It started a franchise and shifted the paradigm of an entire genre, leaving a lasting impact.
That's good, thank you.
The movie encapsulates the promise of filmmaking. With a good idea, a camera, and a dedicated cast and crew, a filmmaker can change the world, no matter the budget. Even something as spontaneous as the Blair Witch Project requires extensive planning. Begin work on your next movie with Studio Binder's screenwriting and storyboard software. Until next time, just keep filming.
That's enough! Stop taping! Please stop taping!
Okay, we're leaving right now. Okay, we're out of here. We're out of here, I'm leaving.
Come on, turn it off!
Well, you can't nap in the creek either.